back to the Tailosive Tech Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Nick being as consistent as Apple prices.
Yes!
Always out at the beginning of each episode.
Always high.
Always high.
One's talking about the price, one's
today?
talking about my mental state. I am doing really good because you know what Apple did? Apple confirmed an event!
We got to.
Confirmation.
This is a very special time of year.
Yes.
Two events have been confirmed.
And we don't know what's happening with them because rumors.
Yeah, we're all in rumor territory. This is rare. Do you remember the last time this happened? Because I can't.
Well, we didn't have a spring event last year. It went straight to DubDub. So it would have had to been the year before that. Because DubDub is normally announced like 3 months in advance because they have to book flights and hotels and all that fun stuff.
Right.
It was this huge production, or at least it used to be before Rona. So we typically get the June announcement sometime in February or March. And then if we have a March or April event, which we haven't had an April event in a long time, but if we have a March event, it takes a long time for, that to line up just perfectly. So I'm sure it has happened once or twice, but like this is rare. This is like Apple Watch edition level rare of something happening.
So especially April, which hasn't happened in like a decade.
I know.
I can't recall.
When was the last April event? What was that product announcement? Was that iPad?
I thought I looked it up. I think it was 2010.
That would have been iPad, I think, right?
I think it was. It's funny you ask. I looked this up a while back, and now I've completely forgotten about everything. I think there's a Wikipedia page that has every Apple event that's ever happened.
So basically, your note
kind of
in
helpful.
your notes. Drew, for those who don't know, Drew has this note in his Apple Notes that is literally the most detailed Apple announcement release information you'll ever find. He's like, well, Apple updated their website and launched a new 3.5 jack to USB-C adapter on this day at 5:36 a.m. And it's like,
I do list the times, to be specific, because usually what happens in the Discord every morning is that people say, well, the event hasn't been announced yet, or the product hasn't been announced yet. That means it's canceled, not happening. That's official. And I'm like, no. Look, sometimes the site refreshes, they happen here, and I always use it to remind people, no site refreshes on Thursdays or Fridays or weekends. Looking at the big list now, it appears the last April event was... Oh, I saw one. It said April 20. I was like, when was that? Oh, that's this year. The last one was April 8th of 2010.
Wow.
Not much happened. It says Apple revealed iOS 4. At that time, it was iPhone OS 4 back in the day.
Wow.
And it included over 100 new user features for iPhone and iPod Touch. And for developers, they launched a software development kit that offered over 1,500 new APIs to create apps that are even more powerful. So it was like a pre-Quadruple UDC. It was like they did a little developer event right before. There was still Quadruple UDC, and at that event, Jobs announced the iPhone 4, and they once again confirmed iPhone OS is now iOS, and the FaceTime and iMovie app for iPhone applications were announced. So that was the FaceTime event, the very first one. We're using it right now. So,
hopefully it works.
Hopefully it doesn't fall on us. It won't be Starlink's fault. Trust me.
No, Starlink has zero issues, ever.
There's never been a single flaw with Starlink that I can think of. But
actually, there hasn't been. Compared to Comcast.
When it comes to billing and pricing, Starlink has been completely honest, flawless, no issues. But yeah, I guess the last April event we got iOS. That's a pretty big deal.
That is.
What will we?
I mean, is it going to be bigger this time? Maybe the Apple saves April events, and we just didn't know that they'd been saving April events for like another quantum leap in iOS powering.
Yes.
I love this word. It's like a quantum leap.
You could just apply it to anything.
Anything. My Fruit Loops were quantum leap better than the last time I had Fruit Loops this morning.
Can we? Maybe the next version of macOS should be Quantum.
macOS Quantum.
That's not a bad name.
And it's perfect because there is Quantum in California.
Oh, there is?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I think quantum
I'm
space
sure.
is everywhere, right? So it's just quantum California. And the intro, the WWDC intro, is just us zooming in on Craig's hair, and then we get closer and closer and closer, and we see little atoms and the hair molecules and the atoms, and then we zoom into the quantum realm, and that's the background.
That's the background.
Beat that,
You know-
you people who try to knock off the desktop.
Beat that. macOS Quantum would be great, but something about an April event is so perfect that they had it on the 20th.
Oh.
Wouldn't this be the perfect time to announce macOS Weed?
You know what? Actually, I would agree. Yeah.
That is so
April
perfect.
20th, 2021. 69 days before WWDC or whatever someone said on Twitter. It would be the perfect day to announce macOS Weed.
I honestly did not think they were going to do it.
I didn't either.
Like-
When you tweeted that out like a month before, like, oh, it has to be on a Tuesday, right? And you made like
Right.
the fake intro welcome art that was like high speed.
High speed with all the weed leaves. I was memeing so hard because everyone was saying maybe April events happening, and we were just last week we were doing the podcast and we were talking like, okay, it's halfway through April, still no April event announced. I had kind of given up most hope of there being an event this month. I was kind of thinking, no way they're going to do it on 420.
Yeah,
and
right.
then 427 is like end of April, and then we've got the quadruple UDC in early June. So what are the odds of it just being 427? Because Apple's the type of company that would, they don't have events on certain significant days.
Yeah.
And this one, they're just...
It's not significant,
seem-
evidently. I mean, the crack marketing
it
team,
doesn't matter.
the crack marketing team isn't onto weed. They're onto crack. So
I think do you think this was intentional, the 69-day thing, or is this complete coincidence?
okay, so what is the 69-day thing? I saw it on Twitter like once a couple days ago, and I want to make
believe
sure I
they
have my facts
announced
straight.
I think they announced quadruple UDC 69 days before it
Okay.
happens.
Okay. All right. So
I could be getting that wrong, but there was some significance of announcing 69 days before.
okay.
And now they're having
At this
an
point,
event
I'm
on
going to say it's
420.
on purpose. They've all been locked up in their homes for over a year. They haven't been able to visit the beautiful Apple Park, and so all these people are just like going high because it's California.
It's high.
It's high. It's very high.
Right. So I agree it could be intentional from the marketing department, but then the next question is Tim aware? Or does Tim just think this is business as usual?
Oh, Tim knows. Tim knows.
He knows.
Tim knows,
good.
and Tim was like, "Yeah, it's probably not the best look," but like all the marketing guys were like, "Come on, Tim, we're so boring. Look at Samsung; they're having so much fun being like wise. Look at Intel; they're having such the best ads ever.
Oh, right.
We need to like
Yes.
one up their marketing by having a fun
They gotta
date.
step it up.
Yes,
Yeah.
and all of the
They-
headlines are going to be 4.20 events with all of the new products. Like that's it. That's the headline.
420 day. Yeah. On one hand, I'm like, Apple's a $1 trillion company. They're on the S&P 500. They're very reasonable, responsible. They wouldn't do crazy stuff like this. But then, remember the November event, guys, when he opened the MacBook and he just did the smolder and everything? That was pure
Memes.
meme material.
Yes.
He knew exactly what he was doing. That was not just for comedic effect, although there was great comedic effect. They knew for a fact that Federighi was a meme.
Yes.
And they were embracing it.
Yes.
And now they're embracing it with the invite image of quadruple UDC with the laptop
Yep.
opening. So they're proud of memes. I still remember the Tim Apple Twitter nickname.
I
and
love that.
AirPods
That was
in
beautiful.
his profile picture.
Yeah, that was
all
beautiful.
beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is intentional.
I would
They did it on
also
420.
say this is intentional. But what I want to see is in the drone intro shot for this event,
Yes.
I want it to start on some weed that is growing on Apple Park.
It's probably not hard to find. In California, they're growing it. I think my neighbors are growing it as we speak. I'm pretty sure. But
No.
It's, all
It's
legal,
down in the
so-
lab with the purple lights, the purple lights that they have to use to grow the plants inside. We go down, and it's one of the
Exactly.
levels as we're like going down to the M1 chip place. We go by all those little
Uh-huh.
levels, and we just see like different color weed growing places. Anyway,
This is where they come up with like, what if the wheels were $400?
what if they were 700?
$700. Yeah, I I do like to imagine they're embracing all this, and hopefully there's some references to it in the event.
Yes,
we're
please.
probably going to see Tim. What is the likelihood of Craig?
We'll probably get a Craig cameo. Honestly, we didn't.
You don't think he'll get talk time?
I don't know. He did do that iPad, how to use the new iPad OS last year when they introduced the Magic Keyboard.
That's true.
He did do that little video. So my gut tells me that we're not going to see Craig except for maybe like a flyby of him. I think in the September event we saw just like a quick frame of Freg. Who's Freg? Freggerigi.
That's his combined name. Freggerigi. Yeah, we did see him for a split second. He had longer hair. I think,
yeah, might have been just a guy in a wig, but yeah, that we just get it like a quick shot of him, or he'll actually be handling some new software announcement that'll happen. Because I wouldn't put it past him. Let's talk about what exactly we're expecting from this event, because at this point,
all right,
at time of release, like it is days away from like a day away. Like this podcast is going,
this goes up on Monday, right?
Yeah, so tomorrow.
Yeah,
wow.
So literally tomorrow.
So everyone, get hyped. Yeah!
Get psyched. Get hyped. Yes. Ah! Spring forward. Does this mean they're releasing a Slinky?
Yes, actually it does. The Apple Slinky will be super minimal. You know how most Slinkies are complete circles that as a concentric spring. Apple's going to be minimal
in the September
about
event,
and it was. You're right. The
iPad Air commercial. Yeah,
Apple's just going to cut the Slinky down halfway in half, and it'll be more minimal. And it won't be a Slinky anymore, but it'll be more minimal.
I love how we're joking, but at the same time, if Apple made a Slinky, that would get on Unbox Therapy, that would get on MQBHD. You would probably buy one.
Oh yes, I would. I would play up and down the stairs all day long. I would be having so much fun. What else do you do with the Slinky?
But all right, I'll be serious for a second. What else is coming? I think the iPad Pro is the almost only thing that I can say with. I hesitate to use the word certainty because we should never. It comes very close to confirmed, which I don't like using until it's officially confirmed. Like, oh, that's something else we didn't talk about. The Siri reveal. Siri was the one saying the Apple event would be on 420 before the invites went out, which she has done before, but not recently. It's been a while.
So I saw that all happening on Twitter before any of the press announcements came out, and so I tried it, and because I think Nikias was like, "Hey, ask Siri when the next Apple event is," and he had a screenshot of it. I'm like, "Oh, that's fake. Let me prove you wrong, Nikias." And so I did, "When's the next Apple event?" And she's like, "April or April
Tuesday
20 Tuesday April 20th 2021," and I was just like.
Oh,
Siri needs an Apple Track score. She's 100% at the moment.
She does. She got one now.
Yep.
It's official.
She does.
She's at the top. Yeah, he added it. I was very grateful he
Good job,
added
Sam.
her because I think, given a lot of people don't use Siri at all, this is a great way to get people to use Siri. Is to just leak stuff. Like, imagine if they started putting little details.
How much will the Apple Car be?
It's funny you picked that.
Oh, she just Googled it.
She Googled it. I literally, this is not the EV podcast, but I literally had a dream the Apple Car came out last night.
Oh, really?
Which was very
Does
bizarre.
it come out on 420?
Maybe it's a premonition.
Ooh.
It did feel recent.
I
remember.
Are you lucidly dreaming?
Am I? That would be great. They announced they bought Lucid. No, but I literally had a dream that it was somewhat recent, and I was like watching them reveal it, and there were all these people in the chat telling me how wrong I was because I've been saying for so long I don't think they'll do it. All these people in the chat, Drew, you're wrong, and I'm like, I don't care that I'm wrong. Apple just released a car. Holy crap! I was excited, but then I woke up and I was like. I was right. There's no car. It was a weird morning, but anyway.
Most mornings are weird for me.
Siri revealing stuff, I think, is really smart before the invites went out. And a lot of people were actually considering that a confirmation. I was hesitant to consider it because I was thinking maybe they put it in the Siri servers, but the event isn't happening or something.
Oh, it was intentional. It was 100% intentional.
I know it's intentional now, but I'm saying, like, what if in hindsight, in the moment, like we see Siri say something like that and then we don't get invites? Who would you believe?
I would believe Siri at the moment. She is 100% on Apple tracks, so I believe Siri.
Now she does.
Um,
But like, what if we got that Siri leak last? When was it? Monday? Or no, it was Tuesday. 'Cause it was a week before, and then we didn't get invites, and it's now Friday. But Siri is still saying April 20th. Would you still believe Siri in that case?
no, probably not. I'd just be like, it's
No?
a bug. But okay, here's the thing. Apple is really fast about addressing Siri issues. I remember one time,
Usually,
some guy changed the picture of Donald Trump on Wikipedia to a bad image, and Siri was displaying that. And within like minutes, Apple fixed that. Like within minutes, like the articles hadn't even been written about it, and like Apple already fixed it. And so Apple's.
So you're saying it wouldn't last?
Yeah,
long if
Apple's
it was
really
patched.
on any kind of Siri question prompt that's out of the ordinary, and so I would imagine it might, maybe some disgruntled Siri employee who's quitting or whatever decides to add in all of the. Tim has an internal calendar with all of the Apple events scheduled for like 3 or 4 years in advance, and so this employee just adds all of those dates and times into the Siri database. But Apple would find that so fast. Like, I would be surprised if anyone would even see it before like they took it down. Like, especially with Apple stuff, like they're tight-lipped about this. So I think if in this hypothetical where Siri hadn't been confirmed with a press invite, I probably would still be like, well, it's still up. I mean, it's not like Apple doesn't know it exists because, everyone and their brother's talking about it. So it's still up. I mean, that must mean something, right? So I don't know. I wouldn't be so sure as I am right now because Apple confirmed it, but confirmed. But
confirmed, yeah.
Here's another question.
Reaffirms a lot of things.
Here's another thought for you. What if, kind of crazy theory, what if it was an accidental Siri leak? What if Siri just had a little glitch one day and just, by pure chance is saying that there's going to be an Apple event on 420, and Apple's like, oh crap, and they actually create an Apple event because of Siri.
That would be hilarious. I want that to be true so bad. They're like, well, we have some things, but
yeah, we were just gonna refresh
Siri
the
had this
website.
bug.
But Tim, go get a microphone. We're gonna do a little intro here. And it's just like a 20-minute event.
The invite image does look kind of lazy. It's just a little.
Yeah.
They were like, oh crap, we need an invite. Takes pencil, squiggle. Okay, we got an invite. Send it out. It is fascinating, though, how excited we get over very, very minimal invite images. They are like, I remember the March 2019 one. It was literally just the back of a MacBook. It was like an Apple logo on metal.
Yep.
That was it. Nothing else. And we were like, this is
a
it.
MacBook. Did we even get a MacBook that time? March 2019.
No, that was the services event.
Yeah. That was really weird.
One of my least liked Apple events of all time. That's one... before
Big
Quadruple
Bird.
UDC, but Big Bird was there, so it's great. Remember, like, before iPhone events or before Quadruple UDC, like, sometimes we go back and watch all the old Apple events leading up to them. March 2019, I've never rewatched.
I have never rewatched that one either, yeah.
I've never gone back and wanted to see the announcement of Apple TV Plus again because it wasn't exciting.
Book Club!
Book Club! It's through Apple. It was like one of the... There's bad Apple events, and then there's the March 2019 event. It's like in a different realm because most of the bad Apple events in the past, in my opinion, were because they were not that exciting and they were too short. Like,
let's switch to backup here.
I ditched statistics class in college to watch the March 2016 event.
I watched that in class
because I was. Oh, you watched it?
I had a headphone in.
I was so excited. I was so pumped to see what they were going to announce. And back then, I thought it was going to be the iPad Air 3 because that makes sense. And then it ended up being the 9.7-inch iPad Pro, which I thought was so annoying and confusing because now we have to say the screen size when talking about Pro iPads. And they announced the first generation iPhone SE, which was like iPhone 5S, but now with a better chip. And that was about it. And then the event was over, and it was like just about an hour. And at that time, I was used to much more exciting announcements.
Like every Apple event used to be this huge production, and not to say that they aren't, because I think production value, I think it's actually gone up, especially with the remote sessions. Like it's highly produced.
The drone shots,
drone shots, and I we talk about things that we rewatch. I rewatch the Apple M1 introduction all of the time. Like I literally watched it like 2 times this week. Yeah, like the color swirls, and it goes like through the Apple, and it's like all this RGB backlight, like lens flares, and it's just so pretty. And,
it's so good.
But they're all 3D models. But what always gets me in that event is it's Apple Park. It's like a high up drone shot of all of Apple Park, and it's the RGB lighting behind it, and then it just cross dissolves into like an actual like daytime image of Apple Park, and then the doors just start opening right on cue, and then it zooms in. It's just like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, this is like, mwah.
The production value is unmatched for this type of content.
Unmatched.
I would say the closest thing to it would be like some type of actual, Netflix show or a TV Plus show.
It's on par with like even the animations. Like I've done a little bit of stuff in motion. I'm no 3-dimensional graphics expert, but I know enough to know how difficult this must have been. Just like they had the rainbow what's that stage thing?
Yes,
it was rendered in 3D in this like RGB backlit thing during the intro, and like just the way the camera pans, so like all of the little lines all line up and like move in synchrony. It's just like, that is like ILM levels of like beautiful rendering.
Oh, it
is.
This
is beautiful.
I wonder how many people they have full-time on staff just designated to the Apple event footage.
I think they contract with a production company, but there are probably quite a few people employed. That's for sure.
I would say they're probably getting paid handsomely, I'm imagining.
I would hope so.
I'd like to think they just have full-time staff just for events that don't do like anything else. They just film.
Hey, if they do, Apple, I fly drones.
That'd be a great position for Nick. They'd also have a 3D model of every blade of grass on the inside of Apple Park. Every leaf is measured.
I'm sure they have.
If a leaf falls, they have to get another scan. They have to
That's why we have LiDAR sensors on our phones and our iPads now. It's because the engineers got tired of getting a tape measure out to measure all the blades of grass.
Yes.
Well, I think we kind of ventured away from what we're expecting in this event. But you said iPads, right? What are we expecting with these iPads?
iPad Pros, mini LED on the big version. It sounds very universally agreed upon between all the different news agencies.
What is mini LED? We've been talking about this for years. What is it exactly?
It's basically individual backlit version of LCD. It's very similar to the Pro Display XDR.
Okay.
But
oh no, is this going to be the iPad Pro XDR? Oh no.
They might call it that. Actually,
no.
That would somewhat
and it comes with a $1,000 stand.
Okay, here's something I can almost guarantee you. I mean, the only reason I say almost is because it's not confirmed iPad Pros are coming at this event. It might just be a big services event for all we know. It could be some
more Big Bird,
really boring or stale. I don't like to say things are certain or confirmed. Even when Siri said there was an Apple event, I had a hard time believing her. But moving forward, I'll take that more as a certainty now. But they are not going to call it a liquid Retina display. Ooh. That's what they've called iPad Pros since 2018. Liquid Retina, which is basically a fancy term for LCD that has high pixel density. This is the first time, which is why I was kind of surprised Gurman said nothing particularly innovative. This is the first time Apple is introducing mini LED technology into a device, iPad, iPhone, Mac, anything. Pro Display XDR, I looked up the definitions, and the only reason the Pro Display XDR is not considered mini LED is because the individual backlights are too large.
Okay.
They're fairly big, and because there's only a few hundred backlights on the Pro Display XDR that individually go on and off depending on what you're looking at, and that's what gives it that insane dynamic range. But it's not OLED because it still needs a backlight. And OLED has burn-in issues. Mini LED does not because it's still an LCD. And for a display to be technically considered mini LED, it has to have like thousands of diodes, not like a few hundred. So basically, if you were able to blow up the Pro Display XDR so that it had a few thousand diodes, it would be considered mini LED. But because they're a certain size, it's just considered a heavily customized LCD. I don't make the definitions for this stuff. It doesn't make sense. But mini LED meaning the individual backlights for this display are going to be several thousand. There's going to be quite a bit of them, and it should provide a lot of OLED-like benefits. I wouldn't be shocked if they call it Super Retina XDR, same thing as the iPhone. They might not call it that just because it's not OLED. They might call it something else. We've got local dimming zones on the XDR, so maybe they'll give it just XDR or something. I don't know.
Well, if it's XDR, that's how you know it's going to be expensive. Is this
Yes.
going to be for HDR content? Like, I know the current iPhone, 12 mini through 12 Pro Max all support HDR. And I only notice that when I look at a HDR video and then I go to change the volume and like the volume indicator's like dark gray, and normally that's white, and I'm just like, ugh.
They just boost the nits.
Yeah, just all of the nits boosted. Do you think that these iPads are going to be advertised as HDR capable? And if so, what do you think that naming will be? Will it be XDR or HDR or Liquid Retina HDR with mini LED, QLEDs?
I think I have a gut feeling that they're not going to do any of the software exclusive things that I'm hoping for. Like whenever we talk about the iPad Pro, I'm like, they need to come up with software functionality that gives the A14X purpose. Because personally, you have the latest iPad Pro. I have a bit of an older iPad Pro, but they still both have A12X and A12Z.
Yep.
And they're very fast for what an iPad needs, and it's going to be very tricky to justify a whole A14X chip if it's still running the exact same iPad OS and there's no other software additions. And because that's what I would love to see, is them announce, with this new chip we can now do Final Cut, or we can now do Xcode or Logic, or we can now do revamped external monitor support, external webcams with the new Thunderbolt port now, some type of added use case. But my gut is telling me this is just going to be the XDR iPad, where they just brag about how Dolby Vision, we've got all the great HDR settings that the iPhone 12 series has. The iPad Pro camera will probably even shoot at Dolby Vision, just like the 12 Pros do. It's got the CPU for it, and now they've got an amazing display for it. They're just going to be like, well, this is great for TV Plus content, and this is great for shooting and editing video in HDR, and it's just bringing all those great HDR features that I don't care about to the iPhone over to the iPad, and that would be a hard upgrade for me. That would be difficult to justify. I'd just be like, I never have really looked at my iPad Pro display and been annoyed. I've never been like, it's not colorful enough, or it's not bright enough. Like, I still think the displays they're using on the older iPad Pros look amazing, and it's still my favorite display I use at 120 hertz. So it's adding just the Dolby Vision stuff is probably what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But some people care about that. I mean, some people want the pixels to go all the way off, complete darkness in the black parts of the display, and they don't like that little light that comes with an LCD that you don't have with an OLED. So I'd still say it's a big step forward for displays, because we know this mini LED is probably going to come to MacBooks eventually, and that's a big deal. But
so I do have a problem with my current LCD on my iPad.
Oh, you do?
This is something that I've noticed has been getting worse over the past few months. But for some reason, when I'm looking at a fully white screen, so it's just like on a web page or whatever, I can notice there's this little itsy bitsy bright spot right here. And it looks like there's like a little LED behind it that's just like pure white, and everything else is gray around it. And I'll put in some B-roll of this so everyone can see who's watching on YouTube. But like, it's not enough to make me want to go through the hassle of getting AppleCare to replace it, but I think I might if it continues. I've kind of just been hoping it goes away, but like, it's kind of weird that it's just sitting there. And I don't know. I thought that for a while that was like mini LED on my iPad, but evidently it's not. So, oh well.
It's mini LED. It's a feature.
It's a feature.
Not a bug.
Everybody, it's a feature, not a bug. Yeah.
That's too bad that the display's acting up. I haven't noticed anything like that on mine, and I'm coming up on the 3-year mark with mine in October, so it's
and overall, it's like so small. I ignore it when I'm doing, picture editing or whatever. So it's not a huge deal, but it's just like, oh man, it's effective. It's only been a year. Oh well.
No, you paid a lot for it. You should expect it to be
understatement of the
flawless.
century.
Understand a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
It's the beast.
Will you be
iPad.
upgrading this iPad, or will you get it to review, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely for review. I'm torn on whether or not I'll upgrade. Like if it had some software exclusive features with the A14X, almost definitely.
Okay.
It certainly has to work with my keyboard case. I don't want to buy another keyboard case. That's a deal breaker if they're like, oh, you got to buy another $350 because we made the camera bump 0.2 microns bigger, so it won't work anymore. Like that would annoy the crap out of me. So I think I'm going to try to sell my old iPad to see if I can get a good deal on it. And if I can find a good... I talked to my wife about it because I want to make sure I'm not just upgrading for no reason. But if someone was willing... I'm not selling it online. Don't send me any offers, people. But if I find a good buyer for it, someone probably in my personal life that's in the market or someone local... If they're willing to pay a decent amount for it, I'd probably be willing to upgrade just because I'm coming up on the 3-year mark with this one, and iPad Pros don't get updated annually. So if I don't get this one, I'm going to have to probably force myself to wait for the 2022 fall launch or 3. Yeah, it's going to be a while if I don't get this one. And I'm hoping it's bigger than just mini LED, but... I'm guessing that's the biggest thing, but I don't know. I've yet to see the Pro Display XDR at the time of recording this, and you said it was amazing.
It looked into my soul.
Looked into his soul. I've yet to see one, so maybe I just need to look at a mini LED screen and it'll blow me away, and it'll be like that 120 hertz moment I had in 2017 when I first turned on that iPad. I was just like, oh my god! So maybe if I see it, it'll just change everything. Especially considering it still should be 120 hertz. They're not getting rid of that. So
honestly, I don't think you'll find it quite as... I'm a lighting guy, so I like lights and colors and all that fun stuff. So that's what blew me away about it. I could care less about the refresh, but you're a refresh rate guy, and so I think I don't think it'll be the same 120 hertz thing for you. But maybe not. I don't know. But just like the blacks and the whites, they look so vivid and alive and just real.
Yeah.
And the other thing was the Pro Display XDR is what, 32, 36 inches or something. And it was so pixel dense that I get my face all the way up on it. Couldn't see any pixels, but my entire peripheral vision was covered by this beautiful display. And it was just like...
That does sound awesome, though.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think I might check one out with Mike tomorrow.
Oh, you should. Totally.
He's making a trip to the Apple store to get his Surface tablet died on him. Or the display freaked out. So he was thinking about getting an iPad, but he already has an older iPad. He just has to get the old Apple Pencil, but he's almost out of school, so it wasn't...
That's the other thing we're rumored to have, the 3rd-gen Apple Pencil. I cannot wait for this to be outdated. Aww.
I saw a few leaked videos and pictures of... I can't tell what's different, though.
Neither can
you
I.
Tell?
Nobody
it looks
knows.
Like the Apple Pencil 2, but glossy. Did you notice the glossiness?
It did look a little glossier, but again, it's just a render, so who knows? And
I didn't see a render. I thought I saw an IRL picture.
Oh, was it an IRL picture? I think the one I saw was a render. It was like on a black background. It looked like a render.
Oh, okay.
But I
didn't see that.
I guess I was trying. I'm kind of confused what they can do to the Apple Pencil 3. Like, honestly, like it already has a 9 millisecond refresh rate, so it's like way faster than the screen by like a factor of 8 or something like that. Like, it's crazy. It already has a button where you can tap it, and it's not a physical button, but a motion control button. I use that all the time. It's force sensitive. It does angles. It charges wirelessly. It magnetically attaches to the iPad. Like, this is the epitome of pencil design, in my opinion. And I'm just really curious to see what Apple thinks they can do better here, because
the only thing I can recommend is find a way to make it cheaper.
Totally.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have asked for like a eraser on the back, and I could see them doing that, but at the same time, I prefer... It's a lot simpler for me to double tap and continue moving and change between, instead of turning the pencil all the way around to erase. And it's just... It feels so archaic.
I'm the same way. if you're going digital, there's no reason to put the eraser on the back. You know,
Yeah.
that it's like a old pencil style thought process that when you erase something, it has to be a giant nub
Yeah.
that takes
I
up
wanna
a
get
big
so precise
circle
with
when
the
you're trying
eraser.
to erase.
Yeah.
With a stylus, you're allowed
Who
to
wants
be
a
as precise as you
stylus?
want. Exactly. You can erase just a tiny amount, and you can switch with the little switcher there. So
And I've gotten really good
I'm-
with the switcher. Like, you know, you can pretty much just not even lift your pencil from the display. You can be writing, double tap, and continue writing to
Oh,
erase,
yeah.
and then, you know, it's just, it can be like super. I think it's super clean. Now, my Apple Pencil is broken, and it's been broken for over a year and a half at this point.
Oh, it has.
It
no.
doesn't do the force sensing anymore because I dropped my 3rd gen iPad before I even had this 4th gen iPad. And
Nick.
I know. I had it set up on the counter in the kitchen,
no.
and it landed on the tile. But it didn't dent or crack the iPad because all of the weight was put right onto the Apple Pencil. The entire drop happened on the Apple Pencil. So the
that
Apple,
was its crumple zone.
exactly, it was a crumple zone. So it still functions kind of. It doesn't do force sensing, and it's kind of cracked. So I probably am in the market for the Apple Pencil 3 as long as it's backwards compatible with the 4th gen iPad Pro. But I
hope so.
At
think
the end
it
of the
will.
day, like if there aren't new features that are interesting, I might just get an old, 2nd gen Apple Pencil or new 2nd gen Apple Pencil.
Yeah.
For cheaper, because this pencil is just fine, and I'm kind of proud of myself for. Honestly, I don't use it that often, so maybe I don't need to upgrade it. But I'm proud of myself for using a broken pencil for like a year and a half, because I remember being like, "Oh, I should just get a new one." But then I was like, "I don't need it. Let's see how long I can survive." And I'm still living on
You
it.
just need a sharpener. Apple
Yes,
Pencil sharpener.
Apple Pencil sharpener.
And it just fixes it.
That's funny.
Yeah. Mine broke. This is my 2nd Apple Pencil too, actually.
Oh, really?
Back when I first got the iPad Pro, it was only a couple days before my wedding.
I remember this.
And
Yeah.
I took the iPad Pro on my honeymoon, and in the middle of we were doing something with it, it stopped working, and it just wouldn't connect. It wouldn't interact with the display at all. And on our honeymoon location, we were like 5 minutes away from an Apple store, and I was like, "Don't worry about it, babe. I can get this looked at when we're done." I know that everyone assumes I would be the guy to go to an Apple store on my honeymoon, but I kid you not, Louise was very supportive and literally suggested it. She was like, no, let's just go today. And I was like, but honey, it's our honeymoon. We're supposed to just relax and have vacation. She was like, no. Let's get this fixed. Let's get it over with, and we can hang out at the Apple store. And it was right next to a Tesla showroom, so we got to sit in all the Teslas and play around with it. So it was still a fun time. We were just, we needed time to kill, honestly. It wasn't like we had a bunch of stuff planned. So I just took it to the Apple store, and I said, hey, this won't connect to my iPad. And they went, okay, have a new one. That was it.
That's nice.
That was pretty. They just handed me a brand new one in the box, and that's the one I still have to this day, and it's still working fine. But yeah, that first one worked for a couple days and then stopped. But I agree with you. I prefer the matte finish, though. I wouldn't prefer a glossy one.
I'm kind of
so it's
agnostic
weird to see
it.
all the
I don't
renders.
really care.
You don't care?
I like
guess
the
it
glossy
doesn't make a big
original Apple
difference.
Pencil too. I just didn't like how it charged,
Yeah.
and it kind of rolled around way too much. So this one's definitely an upgrade
That's
because
true.
it's like always mounted somewhere and it doesn't roll around very much.
Yes.
But
The cap of the first gen is terrible.
I lost
idea.
that thing so many times. And anytime
one-
you dropped the pencil, the cap would go flying in some direction, and you'd be groveling around for your cap on the floor. It was tons of fun.
Charging method was bad. The cap was dumb. In fact, I went to an Apple store once where they were doing some kind of like workshop with a bunch of kids, and they all had Apple Pencils, and they took all the caps off before they gave them to the kids.
Smart.
Like the Apple employees did that. They were just like, no, keep all the caps away from the children. They're just going to swallow it or throw it or,
Put it
lose
up their nose.
So I was like, that was probably a good idea. They just take all the caps off. So this was, honestly, this should have been the first Apple Pencil, to be honest. I don't know why they...
Well, this
made
wouldn't
the
have worked
first one.
with the 2015 designed iPad Pro with the, curved edges and stuff.
That's true.
But this
It
is
should have. They should have
100%
thought
the
of that.
best design though. And I don't know. We've been talking for 5 minutes here about the Apple Pencil 3. What new things is it going to bring to the table? Like, okay, it's glossy. Great. What else?
I heard of a patent. I don't think this is what the Apple Pencil 3 will do, because pretty much any patent you hear about never happens. But there was a patent for a in real life color picker, where the Apple Pencil had a very basic miniaturized camera in the Point where you could tap it to real life objects and then it would match that color.
Okay, well, I would never use that.
I wouldn't either. I just if you're asking for new ideas for a stylus, there's only so many things.
Wow,
you can
we're
do.
really scraping the bottom of the barrel. What if
I don't think that's it.
What if they give it some kind of U1 capability? And this is like so niche, but I do technically have 2 iPads, if you recall. I let my sister permanently borrow the other one, but on occasion she'll want to borrow my pencil.
So like spatial awareness?
Yeah, on occasion she'll want to borrow my pencil because I only have one Apple Pencil, and she'll want to borrow my pencil and doodle or draw or whatever. And so I'll give it to her, but it has to pair to hers first. She has to put it on the little charger, and it'll pair, and you have to click connect. And with iOS 14, you have to go through the whole handwriting. Hey, this is how you handwrite. Try your handwriting, and you can do it in all the search bars now. And you have to do that every single time between all the pairings. And I'm just like, this is so frustrating.
Yep.
So it'd be kind of nice if it was like U1 aware or something, and it knew what device it was like close to, and could just talk to that one. But again, is that a reason to get a 3rd generation Apple Pencil for probably another $130? No.
Probably not, but it's not so much an upgrade feature. It's like a from now on feature. It's like if you're getting an Apple Pencil, we might as well implement. I think that's actually a pretty good idea. Some kind of U1 chip that can tell when it's in proximity and just automatically pair. Yeah. Because you're right. Like sometimes there have been times I've picked up my Apple Pencil and started using the iPad and it wouldn't respond right away, and I would have to just dock it to the top and then start writing. And if it could just know right away that I want it to be used, that would be nice. Affordability is my biggest request, though, because honestly, I think this is. I reviewed the Surface Pro way back when. I know it's been a while, but that pen was okay. This one feels just a bit weightier, and I love that it is rechargeable and it's wireless, and I love the double tap to switch to eraser thing. Like it checks all the boxes I care about in a stylus,
and
which
it's minimal.
I don't talk about it that much, but
this is
I do use it.
This is like super minimal. Like there are two seams, one for the tip to the body, and then a very barely even visible. It's this little dome cap at the bottom, and like other than that, there's like it doesn't look like a piece of technology, and that's what I love about some Apple products. Like they just disappear sometimes. And you don't know how many times I've had in real life, friends or people or whatever walk up to me and be like, "Oh, can I borrow your pen?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't have a pen. I'm sorry." And they're like, "No," and they point to it. I'm like, "No, this isn't going to work. Sorry, it's for my iPad." And they're like, "Oh,
do you have an iPad Pro 3rd or 4th generation?"
Yeah. Are you trying to sign your document on an iPad or this piece of paper you're holding? Because this will do nothing for you.
I would even argue they could even get rid of the Apple Pencil word on the side. I wouldn't mind if that was gone.
Yeah, I thought about rubbing it off. Like I'm sure you can get some like alcohol or something and rub it off, but
you probably could.
I didn't care that much.
But I agree. I prefer the matte texture, which is why I'm not super pumped about the Apple Pencil 3 leaks. Is I'm like, it's going glossy again. I'd rather have matte if it's an option, but if they can lower the price to anything, I don't care how, just cheaper than 130, because I will agree this is a very expensive stylus that's not included with anything. Doesn't matter which iPad. You could buy a $1,500 iPad and they will not throw this in for free. So if there's any possible way they could lower the price to under $100 or something,
$79, that would be amazing. What if, okay, hold on. What if there's the minor improvements we talk about, glossy, U1 chip, maybe the little color picker thing. That's all the 3rd gen one, and that's $130. What if they keep the iPad, Apple Pencil 2 at like $79? Would that be?
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. I don't think
I would get that instead.
Yeah, I think that
everyone would.
That might be a problem then. I don't know. It's too good to be true.
Yeah. I'm guessing, I don't know if they're going to sell 3 Apple Pencils simultaneously.
They kind of have to.
Like,
I mean, look at Mike. Like, Mike's about to go buy the 1st gen Apple Pencil. What?
I know. I agree. The first generation is going to stay.
Made?
It has to stay.
Okay.
I just wonder if the 3 will replace the 2.
And
the 2 won't have a purpose anymore. Like, if the 3 can do everything the 2 can do, if not better, then why keep the two around if it's just like the matte finish option? It's like the iMac at checkout. You want the nano textured option
$1,000
when you're checking out your Apple Pencil. It's like, do you want the nano textured Apple Pencil or do you want the glossy?
The regular Apple Pencil, which is glossy, is $130. Yes. If you want the nano textured Apple Pencil, it's $1,130.
Yes,
because it's nano textured.
Weird for them to have three. It's like, oh, I need a stylus. Oh, we have 3 tiers for you. This is the stupid one. This is the good one, and this is the weird one.
This is the one you need to buy.
You just have all these options. Man.
All right, so
I'm
Apple Pencil, iPad.
We covered pencil and iPad.
What else are we expecting from this event that's happening tomorrow? Can you believe this? Oh man,
tomorrow
for you.
We got another one in June.
I got a whole weekend to wait, but tomorrow for you.
DC is on my father's birthday.
So the stars are aligning. This is.
Let's see who can remember that it's my dad's birthday when Quadruple UDC happens. Good memory.
June 6th.
Mark your calendars.
Happy birthday,
folks.
Mr. Action.
7th.
7th? Was it 7th this year?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Happy birthday on the 7th
then. In advance. Everything else at this event feels like wild card to me.
Okay.
Like,
let's take 5 minutes and go through.
A lot of people are saying AirTags.
AirTags? Okay.
Are you convinced AirTags are still dead?
I'm still convinced that AirTags are not coming.
Okay.
You know,
I don't think that's unreasonable.
I don't see it happening, but I guess Apple could. Like, I was thinking about it a couple days ago. Like, okay, so they announced the third party, whatever, and then a couple days later, they're like, okay, and hey, here's our offering. So it might happen, but we've been talking about AirTags for like literally 2 years now. I'm so done with it. Can we just like?
I'm so sick of it.
I really hope Craig just gets up there and
I want
he's like,
them to release it.
No, we're not doing
and
AirTags.
discontinue it.
Yes. So we've made AirTags
today.
Also,
we're discontinuing AirTags. Everyone's like,
what?
Wait, what? When did AirTags exist? What? Yeah, like I'm not interested in the product.
We have one last thing.
I'm excited for it to be done with.
Yes.
And maybe if they announced it, we could be done with it. Whereas if they don't announce it, there will probably be a bunch of people that still think it's coming. So I guess I'm kind of hoping they announce it just so we can actually have some clarity on it and understand the prices and be done with the whole maybe AirTags are coming this event, because it's turning into another AirPower very quickly.
Yes.
And everyone's just like, oh, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. So let's say hopefully not AirTags, but maybe another potential one we've seen a lot of rumors for are AirPods 3. The only reason I'm hesitant is because they've never done AirPods on stage since the first gen.
Yeah.
Everything has been site refresh. Even AirPods Max
true.
over-ears were a site refresh. So why the heck would just a slightly tinkered version of AirPods get staged?
Well, hold on. At AirPods 2 or AirPods Pro got a little bit of stage time for the ANC or the
did
spatial audio or whatever.
They got some software improvements, but it wasn't an unveiling.
That's arguably an even smaller improvement than actual hardware.
Yeah.
So
yes, I would agree. It's very small, but personally, like most of these little events, especially spring events, which are known for not being too eventful, typically have like 2 main things. Like the March 2016 event was iPad Pro and iPhone SE, and in September we got iPad Air, Apple Watch Series 6, and October we had HomePod Mini, iPhone 12. November was very small. It was like M1, and
3 products.
I guess 3 if you count. Yeah, three no redesigned products, just 3.
The Mac Mini
products
always
we already
counts.
had now with M1.
Mac Mini is the best price per dollar ever.
We have to mention it. We're contractually
obligated.
every podcast.
We don't get paid by Apple if we don't.
We only get Apple reimbursements. That's a joke, people.
Yes,
I know there's like 3 people that are going to believe me when I say it.
You guys are Apple's cheap poor shills.
Honestly, it would explain a lot.
It would.
If I finally disclosed to people that Apple paid me, they would be like, oh, no wonder he said all that stupid stuff. But no, it doesn't.
I really wish they did.
Literally just thought
that'd be kind of nice.
Would be a great backup for if my arguments don't make sense. Well, you know,
I have to.
It's my job, so. But I don't have that backup. I'm just stupid sometimes. But AirPods 3 would be weird.
Yeah, AirPods.
My
what about
biggest
Max? Any Max info?
That's my second biggest request. So
okay.
iPad Pro is almost for certain.
Yep.
The second thing I wish it would be is
Watch
M1X
bands.
event.
We want more watch bands. Yay!
Watch
Spring
bands.
collection.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the Discord lately?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god.
Is it melted
They
yet?
are about the watch bands.
Ooh.
They will not. Skylar, you know who you are.
Yes, I know
You will
Skylar.
not quit with the watch bands. They are just so uppity about getting those watch bands as soon as possible.
Really?
Every newsroom post is basically about when are watch bands coming? Can we get watch bands? Or, Apple being taken to the Supreme Court for questioning on spring watch bands. Everything.
That'd be funny.
But if they could unveil a single Mac with new silicon, that would be
Yes.
more exciting to me
Than
than AirTags,
anything.
than AirPods, than what else is rumored? Apple Pencil.
So-
I don't care if there's no new Apple Pencil, really.
What Mac would you want them? I mean, okay, I guess. What do we want? We want.
You know what I
Yeah.
want.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think's realistic?
Honestly, the reason I say any new Mac is because every Mac in the lineup
They
that
announced
hasn't made
the
the transition.
Intel, the Xeon processor update on the Mac
The
Pro.
new Intel MacBook Pro. Oh no, that would be the most disappointing thing ever.
Everyone is just like, don't buy that unless you want to use it to
As soon
toast
as
your
it comes
vegetables.
out. Do you think there's any more Intel Macs in the pipeline?
No.
No?
No. After
Because
what?
Tim did say there was last quadruple UDC, and there technically was because the 27-inch iMac got refreshed after.
Okay, that
the
was
silicon
it.
transition.
Yeah, that was it.
You think that was the only one?
It has
was
to be
never
at
another
this
one?
point. Could you imagine Apple announcing, we're gonna make a cheaper version of the MacBook Air instead of $1,000, it's $899, but it
No,
melts.
not the Air. No, but it melts. I was thinking maybe like a 16-inch MacBook Pro.
Oh no!
Intel
Oh, no!
or-
No!
Maybe the 4-port Mac
Okay, we
Mini.
talked a couple weeks ago about Apple screwing the pros with the Mac Pro. That would just be even worse if Apple was like, okay, yay, we have a
Yes.
new 16-inch MacBook Pro. Come buy it for $4,000. Yay! And then all the
I would
pros.
be very curious of the sales of that
Yeah,
model.
all the
Everyone would
all the
just be
people
like,
who are like, "Oh, I've been waiting for the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. I guess I got to get it now."
No,
and so they get it, and then they're like,
no.
"No, it's still Intel." Rink, 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 rink. That'd be
And
terrible.
I guarantee you there would be like 3 YouTube channels that buy it just because they feel like they have to buy every Apple product that gets announced, and they would review it and say, it's not actually that bad. You really can still get a great... And everyone would be like, shut up, no, Apple Silicon, all the way, that's what we did. But, there would be... I'm not going to say who, but the channels that would buy it would be like,
Talos of Tech.
really not that bad. It would probably be me.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't buy it.
We are
I
contractually
don't want to
obligated.
buy... I'll put this on the record. I do not want to buy another Intel Mac ever from this day forth. I don't care if it's used.
So in 2055, when Intel is back up on their processor game, you're not going to buy an Intel Mac, okay?
If I had to buy a Mac today and my iMac Pro exploded, I would hands down get the Apple Silicon iMac
Mac Mini?
Mac Mini.
Yes!
Yeah,
Oh!
I would definitely get that. The certified refurbished section, I would get.
That is a good deal.
in minutes.
There are
as
so
soon as the
many good
iMac Pro
deals.
exploded, before the debris of the iMac hit the wall, I would be already on the order page. I'd be like, "Okay, ready?"
Buy.
Because I'm already getting kind of sick of still using Intel, and I want to transition ASAP. So, if anything, the reason I say any Mac is because anything that hasn't made the transition yet, I can't wait to see. Like, I'm so excited for it. Even if it's just one Mac, okay? We don't get the refreshed iMac design, which is obviously what I really want. If you're asking wish list, redesigned iMac, give me that right now. I don't even care if it's Friday before the event. Just update it. I want it 2 months ago, okay? I want it now. That would be amazing. But even if the event just unveiled a 13-inch MacBook Pro with 4 USB-C ports, and now it has an M1X chip, so we can just get some more speed tests, we can get some more comparisons, and we can start to see the quantum leap direction that the M1 is heading in. Even if it was just one update, no redesign, no mini LED, no legacy ports, just same old MacBook Pro design, except this one has the 2 fans and the M1X.
In a
and
13-inch or
extra ports.
16-inch?
Either. I'll take 13. I'll take 16. I don't care. Like any new Apple Silicon Mac that we don't currently have that has a new M1X. I guess I wouldn't be that excited if they just brought the M1 to another one because we already know the specs of the M1. So I'd be like, okay, great. But even that would be somewhat exciting if it had more than 2 USB-C ports. If it had the extra I/O, I'd be like, finally, the M1, they added another Thunderbolt controller or something. You know, they tinkered it so that it can actually sustain more inputs. Even that I would be excited to see, just because Apple Silicon right now I think is the most exciting development in Apple's pipeline. So anything, honestly. There's a lot of people looking at the storage configurations on the iMac go away.
Yeah.
And that's making them think, is the 24-inch iMac coming next week?
I've seen
Are we going to see
people.
that? And then 32-inch iMac at the end of the year, and we get the 24-inch now. I'll be so excited, and I will have a huge internal debate on whether or not I can settle for a 24-inch display. I'll be very tempted.
If it's a new design or
close.
if it's just an M1X chip.
Yes.
Okay.
New design. If it's an old design, same old iMac, just with M1X, that'd be harder to get excited for. I would probably not get that. Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I kind of want the redesign. So if it's not redesigned, I'd be like, I'll just do the responsible thing. Well, I wanted a better chip anyway. I'd rather
The
get a
gears
Mac
are turning,
Mini
my
at that
people.
point.
Look at this. It's happening.
I'm thinking. You're making me think. If it's Apple Silicon but the same old iMac design.
M1X, not just M1. Because we know what M1's performance is like.
If it's better than my iMac Pro performance in every way, but it just looks the same as my iMac, I would be much more inclined to go with a Mac Mini at that point, because I want a different screen. I don't like this chin forehead thing. So I would really hope that they would make a M1X Mac Mini with 4 USB-C ports. Update that space gray one they still have.
You're speaking my language.
This is Talos of Tech X.
Yes.
You know, like all this hype, all of this. How many episodes have we gone now? Hyping the M1 Mac Mini, probably hundreds of episodes. We're so pumped about the M1 Mac Mini, and then they're like, by the way, here's an M1X Mac Mini. It's even stronger, even faster. We would be like, yes! In fact, if they did an M1X Mac Mini, I would be tempted to get that over the redesigned iMac.
Honestly.
Just because it's more affordable.
Totally.
And I could use any monitor. I got great monitors I can use that I'm not.
And it would,
right
the
now,
I/O would be better than any new Mac that they'd have. iMac for sure. You'd have 4 USB,
probably
2 USB-A, Ethernet, HDMI, and a headphone jack. Like that's
true.
That's,
do you think the iMacs currently have 2 USB-C, 4 USB-A, SD card, headphone jack, and Ethernet? Do you think they're going to change the I/O on the Apple Silicon iMacs?
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they changed the I/O on the M1 Mac Mini.
That's true. But it was kind of a limitation. It was like a M1 can't
It
support
really wasn't
more,
though,
so.
because each one of those Thunderbolt each one of those Thunderbolt ports on the Mac Mini has its own Thunderbolt controller. So each Thunderbolt controller can power 2 USB-C ports. And so theoretically, that's why they have this dock. OWC has a dock where you can plug into the Mac Mini that turns your one Thunderbolt port into 2 full-speed Thunderbolt 3 ports, because they both have each of those ports has their own Thunderbolt controllers. And
okay.
So
that's fair.
There really isn't a reason why they didn't. I don't know why they didn't. I mean, there's plenty of space on the back. I mean, the other Mac Mini had them before, so it's not like I'm confused as to why. Now, obviously, the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro 13-inch with Touch Bar and two USB-C ports, those only have one Thunderbolt controller. But the Mac Mini has 2 Thunderbolt controllers. So I don't know.
Oh, weird. Huh. Well, I just like not having to buy an adapter. Like my old Mac Mini that I sold, I occupied all 4 of those ports pretty regularly. So not having to buy a extension thing is nice. But yeah, I ran a poll because of that's my biggest curiosity. I really want there to be an M1X, some type of new Apple Silicon at this event, but 43% are still saying no.
Oh, wow.
They don't think there will be any at this event. And my gut is telling me, yeah, if there was new Apple Silicon, they probably want to do it at a developers conference. But
yeah,
a man can dream. Okay, like
I am
honestly, if we just get a packed April event with hardware and then just a software June event, I wouldn't mind. That sounds fine. Just save all your software for June and do all the hardware in April. Do everything you got in one event.
16-inch MacBook Pro, 32-inch iMac.
That would be amazing.
All the M1X. Oh, man.
Announce
so much fun.
AirTags in 30 seconds. And
Yes.
then like, I want to see the fastest product announcement of all time.
Okay, so you guys have
and
been
also-
seeing this for the past 2 years. You know exactly what it does and how it works. So here it is. It's going to cost $199 for 3 of them. Next slide.
Right.
On to Jaws.
Right. Something like that. I would be so happy if they glossed over it and they were like, so last week we expanded the Find My network to third parties and we'll also have some first party options too. And now take it away, Craig. They just pan over. That's the whole AirTags get one slide.
One slide.
That's it. There's like, here's the Chipotle chip, here's the Find My bike, and then here's a picture of an AirTag. And they're like, first party options too. Back to you, Tim. And then it pans over and they're like, now we're going to talk about Apple Silicon. I'd be like, yes! AirTags are done. There's no more speculation. They exist. We're done. We don't care about them. We'll find out how much they cost at the Apple Store later. Now we're going to talk about Apple Silicon, which is far more interesting.
Totally.
So that would be like the perfect Apple Sheep dream event. So knowing my luck, we're probably going to get 40 minutes of AirTags. And
here, we're going to show you
price is
8
gonna be
different developers who have created great new apps that will allow you to use AirTags to play fun new games. Only available on
here's
Apple
a
Arcade.
game.
Find your
I don't know
stuff.
about you, but the game demos are always the most boring part of any Apple event for
It's
me.
unfortunate, but
Anytime
it
they're
is.
like,
and we brought
"Let's
Unity,
look at
dude.
Minecraft Earth.
Ooh, yay!
Every time they demoed a game, I was like, come on, we can skip
Skip
this.
it.
So yeah, Apple Silicon's amazing. Is there any predictions you want to have last minute? What do you think this event's going to be?
Predictions. I want to weigh in on. We talked about a lot of important things, but I want to weigh in on the most important thing of this entire event. Whether or not Tim will get out and say, "Good morning, good morning,
Yes.
good morning,
Come on,
Cupertino." We haven't gotten this in the last
can do it.
2 Apple events. I need it, Tim.
Yep.
I need it to live, okay?
We need
I know
this.
you think this is just memes and jokes and you're just doing your job, but I need your soothing voice to tell me good morning. Please.
Soothing. He's so soothing.
Good morning.
I know. I'm with
good
you.
morning.
I want good morning back. Good morning, Apple.
Good morning, Apple.
Good morning, Cupertino. We are so excited to talk about 2 product categories today. iPad and something completely new. We're calling it
M1X.
AirTag. if I go with the realistic side of my brain, the practical side, that's my prediction.
Okay.
iPad Pros, mini LED on one, 5G modems. They're going to talk about 5G again for 10 minutes, and then AirTags. I hope I'm wrong, but that's what I think it'll be.
I am going to hold out hope for an M1X Mac Mini. You know why?
Okay, I'm glad there's hope.
Because if
Why?
we get an M1X Mac Mini, I can redo Project Cube.
Project Q.
Yeah. Have you seen that video,
Nick.
Drew?
I hope I have by now.
We were recording on a Friday.
I think it's really cool, though.
I haven't finished the
For
video
the record,
yet, but
I'm
it
not
will be
making
up.
this up. Nick has done something I could never do. Probably most of us could never do. Tell him, what did you do?
Yeah, so
It's insanity.
basically, I love the design of the 2000 Power Mac G4 Cube. It's the most beautiful computer ever. There it is.
Is it there?
Sitting right there. Actually, let me go on
is-
this side.
It is kind of gorgeous.
And look at that gorgeous little floating box of aluminum, 8 inches by 8 inches, perfectly cubed, floating in a crystal structure that is actually just polyurethane. But Steve called it a crystal structure in the intro event. And
Crystal structure.
It's just
It's made of diamonds.
So beautiful. Obviously,
I love that monitor.
the monitor is beautiful as well. It's just everything's floating in plastic, and it is very 2000s-esque. I'm not denying that.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's brand new, modern, cutting edge design, but there's something that's I feel timeless about this. Maybe it's just because that's the kind of computers I grew up with. It totally feels like iCarly or like just like super like
Yes.
early 2000s Mac.
Right.
But I love.
I have one of those monitors in storage.
You do?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I love the look. I love seeing it. It's actually out of focus for me on the
Yeah.
FaceTime call, and
Uh-huh.
it looks like the monitor's floating. Like there's no
Yeah.
stand or anything.
Pretty much.
No pro stand.
It's beautiful. And you didn't have to buy the stand separately back in the day. So
Wow.
I love this design so much that I decided to embark on an entirely new adventure. The tinkerer side of me. Yes, I went ahead and bought an iFixit kit. I've never used one of these
Whoa.
before. I know. That's how you know I'm getting into
Nice.
tinkering, when you go out and buy an iFixit
Well done.
kit. Yeah. So I
Well
took
done.
soldering iron, spudger, and Torx screwdrivers to 2020 Mac Mini, which I found refurbished on Apple's website for less than $600. So that is the cheapest way to get a Mac ever. Best computer ever is an
That's a killer
M1
deal.
Mac. Yeah, under $600.
Yeah.
$589, I believe, was the price.
Wow.
So I took this Mac Mini.
That's good.
I gutted it, and so I brought it down to the Logic board. And the Logic board on the Mac Mini, for any of those who've seen my Cube video, which is on my personal channel, which definitely won't be linked in the description below, you'll see exactly how small.
Can I share it in the community tab?
Sure, yeah, do whatever you want. I don't care.
Okay.
As long as you don't delete my video.
You're cool.
No,
I don't know
yeah.
how. I don't have the access.
No, you do. You're the Apple sheep. You can figure out how to delete stuff from
okay.
other people's channels.
I think it's really cool because I cannot do that kind of thing, but I think it's amazing what you did.
Yeah, let's just
He's bringing it.
for all those
Let's see it.
watching on the
Whoa.
Tech Podcast. Look at this. It's just it floats. It's so minimal and so nice and clean. But
They all float
my
down
favorite
here.
part of the Cube was the fact that you
Yes.
could very easily take all of the computer components out with the coolest handle that just telescopes out of the
Whoa.
base, and you just simply pull up on it, and you're presented with the entire computer, and you can
Oh my
ditch
god!
the case.
I didn't know it did that.
Yeah. And so
I was
this,
not aware.
This computer used to be packed full. Like every cubic centimeter used to be packed full of computer. It was a G4 computer from
Holy
2000.
crap!
But now there's basically nothing in it.
Dang,
Yeah,
dude.
this thing
it's
is
like
so
the real
small.
Mac Mini.
Exactly. It is about
Got
this.
a lot of free space.
There's a ton of free space inside of this. So it's about 8 pounds lighter than it was because I took out all the metal and stuff. And yeah, it has an M1
Dang.
chip in it, and I fit the power supply in, which is something that Apple couldn't do back in the day. So
Oh my god!
just shows you how powerful the M1 chip is and how compact this whole system is. It all works, 100% works. I run all of the
How do the ports work?
so the ports are just down here at the bottom, just like the Mac Mini. So I took the
I see. There they are.
black plastic, cut it down a little bit, trimmed it out, moved the power port to the bottom there where it'll fit a little bit better, and then also moved the power button too. So it all fits and it works.
so
it works
cool.
so well, and I'm surprised it turned out because I've tinkered with stuff before, but
Yeah.
I've had problems with my tinkerings and they never turn out. And you don't know how thrilled
I
I
tinkered
was.
once and gave up. I hated it.
I tinkered with. This probably isn't a good thing to stay in front of a Mac that has its Logic board exposed at the moment. But I tinkered with the first generation iPad Mini once. I tried to do a digitizer swap
Oh my
because I
God.
crashed the digitizer. Yeah, that thing never turned
Yeah.
on again. I don't know what I did to it, but it never turned on again. I was so sad.
Wow.
So you don't know how thrilled I was when I pushed the power button. The very first test, everything finally got soldered together because I had to do some soldering with the power supply and
Yep.
the plugs
Yep.
and stuff. And I pushed the power button, the white light turned on, the Apple chime bong, and I was just like, I was so happy. So, yeah, for all of you,
You made the
tinkerers
first
out there, yeah.
Apple Silicon Mac Pro.
Pretty much, honestly, this is probably
You've done it.
This is a. Also, it feels like you're holding the Tesseract. Like I don't know. There's something about this perfect 8-inch cube with a handle on it. It just feels like a Tesseract.
Oh, wow.
So much fun.
I love that so much.
Yeah,
So,
so-
how much are you selling them for?
I will. No. This took me like a week and a half of like legitimately full time work
Oh, wow.
on it. I wouldn't mind doing another one if someone really wanted one, but it was not cheap. Let's just say I had to buy an entire G4 computer, and then I had to buy an
Yeah.
entire Mac Mini, and then I had to spend an entire week and a half doing it. But it was.
I must imagine that wasn't cheap.
This is going to be my new daily driver. I'm so excited about it. I'm not
Yeah?
using it right now because I wanted to show it off. I still have my old Mac
Okay.
Mini, which I will be selling.
What's powering the monitor?
The monitor? So funny you should ask. I have it hooked up to my current Mac Mini.
You brought it over, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Wait, the screen is still on. What is he doing?"
Yeah, there's
How
Drew.
did he do that?
There's Drew. Everybody. Drew's
Oh,
right
you're
there.
connected to it right now. Hey, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So I'm having a ton of fun. Now, is this a super practical thing? No, but it is a ton of fun to have sitting at my desk. What is my favorite design Apple product ever, which is just Apple Mac,
Wow.
not product, but my favorite design
Yeah.
Mac is this cube, and it's just
That's awesome.
so beautiful. And I'm so happy that it all fits and it all worked exactly as I was
I know.
imagining. So everyone
It's
go watch
gorgeous.
the beautiful video I made and enjoy the
Yeah, I
beautifulness.
can't wait to watch it. I want to watch it
I
now,
know.
but at the time of recording, it's not.
I have the Final Cut project open. I'm editing it. I'm editing the video
Okay.
on this computer. So,
Okay.
the Final Cut project is here.
Gotcha.
Hopefully I don't
We've got a
lose it.
deadline.
Yeah, I do have a deadline.
Hopefully-
I got to finish this
Okay,
thing tomorrow
hopefully
now.
it's up.
I'm going to be up all night
Now you
thanks
have
to you.
This
But-
podcast won't age after the event at all.
Not
So
at all.
you know now people are going to take requests. Do you think this is a one-time retrofit for you, or are there other retrofits?
I have
you
like
wanna do
so
in the
many other
future?
retrofit ideas. I have one that's
Is there a top one on your list? or-
I don't want to lose my
Oh, don't
thunder.
spoil it.
Yeah,
Okay.
because if I spoil it, then
Yeah.
then people are going to try to copycat. And this is such an original
true.
idea. So plenty of people have done G4 Cube
Okay.
mods online, but they
Yeah.
always stick a Hackintosh inside. And I have yet to see
Oh,
a
I
single
see.
person stick a Mac Mini or an M1 chip inside of a G4 Cube. And I check every single
you're the
morning.
first.
And I am the first, assuming I get my video out before anyone else. But I have it.
Hopefully
I have
not.
it done first.
I'm going to post my own video. I already
You're
did
just
it,
gonna
Nick.
take
I'm
all the
sorry.
B-roll. I uploaded like a ton of B-roll to the B-roll channel the other day. Drew just takes the B-roll and makes
If
his
I
own
was
video.
evil, if I was an evil person, I could screw this up so much.
Yeah,
but I
you
won't,
could.
because I'm not evil.
Oh, thanks for not
But
being evil.
do you take suggestions, or can I?
I'm sure. Yeah, please suggest stuff. I'd be happy to hear what you think.
Okay.
Because you saw the size of the board, right?
I would say
I can fit this board in just about any computer. I will say before
Wow.
you get into anything else, there was a creator who put the M1 Mac Mini inside of I believe it was a 2010 iMac, and he put
Yes, I
the
saw
Mac
that.
Mini inside of the iMac, and it didn't function at all. Basically, the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi cables didn't work. You had any ports, you had to take the display off the computer to plug anything in or to turn it on and off. But this is
Really?
a fully functioning computer.
like the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi still work?
Yeah, the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi work perfectly. Even better
Wow.
than the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi on the Mac Mini that I haven't touched because we had problems with that at the beginning of the show. And
Yep.
even once during the show at the very beginning there. But yeah, this is a fully functional
Dang
computer
it.
that I'm going to use every day until they have an M1X Mac Mini for sure. So what are your suggestions?
That's
Drew?
awesome. I was gonna say wait for future silicon.
Yes.
I wouldn't suggest another M1. That's like the perfect embodiment of the M1. But a crazy one would be like M1X or M2 within the trash can Mac Pro,
Ooh.
because that's another like tower style.
I
The
hadn't
other
thought
one I
of
was
that.
thinking was the 12-inch MacBook, but that's probably really tough because
That was where the idea all stemmed from. I was holding my beautiful 12-inch
Yeah.
MacBook. I'm like, I really wish there's an M1 chip. And then I was like, I wonder if I could stick an M1 chip in here. Probably not, but let me just experiment for a second. So I did a little bit of Googling, and turns out the M1 MacBook Air's logic board is about 2 times the size of the 12-inch MacBook's logic board, so it would not fit.
So it's a physical.
It is a physical
limitation.
thing. And so then that got
I
me
see.
thinking, though, the Mac Mini's logic board is pretty small and can fit in many other places. So
Yeah. Well done, Nick.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's very impressive.
thank you.
And I love that you got the monitor working with it
Yes,
too.
yes. The
That's
monitor
incredible.
the monitor is really what I needed the monitor, right? Because this cube
Yeah.
does not look right next to any other monitor. I've put it next to my Philips, my I've imagined it with the Pro Display XDR. It just doesn't look right. It needs this floating 15-inch, which by the way, that monitor is not terrible. Okay? It's not great, but it's not
No, it
terrible.
isn't.
It's like just under 1080p. And it's only 15 inches, so that 1080p looks pretty fine. The color angles are pretty good. Like you're looking at it at an angle right now, and it looks pretty decent. So I was very pleased
and
with
it's
everything.
15 inches at 4x3. It's not 15 inches at 16x10, which
Yeah.
is what people imagine when they think 15 inches. So it's for the time it was out too. That was a pretty solid monitor. I love that you brought it into the 21st century with Apple Silicon support in the. Did you get the speakers too?
I did. I got the speakers.
Oh my god!
I have the old keyboard and mouse and everything. I want to turn the speakers into Bluetooth speakers because the cables are atrocious and they look ugly and they turned all icky.
You're like the original HomePod Mini.
Exactly. You hold the cocoon of Sonic Bliss or whatever I said. Yeah.
Sonic Bliss.
That's
wonderful.
Bliss. So I've been really passionate about this project. Yeah, and I'm hoping that everyone else appreciates it as well. You know, I know there are a lot of videos out there on YouTube, but I appreciate it if you gave me a like, because that would just make this whole stressful past 3 weeks basically. I've been planning this and working on it, and I'm just thrilled that it just works. Like, honestly, even if I didn't make a video out of it, I still would have done this all over again, because just having it on my desk sitting next to me, it's just so much fun to think, man, I made that. That's so cool. And it works awesome. Just perfectly. So, yeah.
And not a Hackintosh.
And it's not a Hackintosh. All these people are like, oh yeah, it's an i7 with 16 gigs of RAM and a GPU GXT95 that has, the Mac OS installed when it turns on when it decides to. And they got 80 cables running out of the bottom of these Mac Mini hacks, which something that I didn't, or sorry, G4 Cube hacks, something that I didn't want to do. I only wanted 2 cables, just like the original. Back in the day, the G4 Cube functioned off of 2 cables coming out of it. You had a power supply in.
Yeah.
And because the power supply was on the floor, because the power supply is bigger than the computer. You had power supply in, and then you had the monitor cable, which was an old Apple display connector. And that was a DVI based, but it had a video, power to the monitor, and USB. So with this one cable, you plugged it into the bottom of the Mac Mini. There's only one cable on the back of the monitor. And so that one cable plugs into the bottom of the G4 Cube and connects. There's USB on the back of the monitor that connect to the speakers and to the keyboard. And there's USB on the keyboard that connects to the mouse. And so you could get online with just 2 cables going into the bottom of your computer. And I thought that was so elegant.
I love that.
I went ahead and did that as well, because I have this dock, and I'm currently using the setup right now with the other Mac Mini. Everything is plugged into my dock. And so I just have one Thunderbolt 3 cable going up to the base, and then I have the power supply going in. And it's just like,
oh, wow.
So perfect. It's the way
Will it get software updates?
It's a Mac Mini, yeah.
So it's on paper to Apple, it's still untouched.
When I guess this is technically the other Mac, but whenever I open up about this Mac, it's like Big Sur M1 Mac Mini, 8 gigs of RAM, and it has no idea that it's not in its case.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
That's your next challenge, is to change the About software to be a G4 Cube icon instead of a Mac Mini picture.
Someone tell me how to do that. I need to figure out how to do this.
I'm sure there's some terminal thing that probably does it, but
sounds confusing.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah,
I'm happy for you.
I'm glad
I wish I could have loaned you the monitor I have in storage so you wouldn't have to buy that one, but
I'm glad I have this permanently.
As good
I had to buff everything. I got car wax and plastic grit and stuff, and I cleaned it all up. It was pretty grimy. Everything. It was 21 years old, so I had to. It looks mint condition now. It's beautiful.
Basically our age.
It is, honestly. My grandpa has a G4 Cube up in storage that he got back in 2000, and I was like, my big thing is I didn't want to take a working G4 Cube out of circulation, because only 29,000 G4 Cubes were ever made, and so they're kind of getting rare at this point. So I wanted to take one that wasn't working, but little did I know it actually did work, but the person on eBay said it wasn't, so go figure.
Oh, you bought one that you thought was
broken, but it turned out to be working.
Oh, wow.
I just plugged it all in, turned it on, and just started up. I was like, I thought you weren't working. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. That's very universally generous of you to be like, I don't want to take one out of circulation.
But then it still works. And I'm like, okay, well, bummer.
Well, you took one that they thought didn't work out of circulation. So yeah. I think, that G4 you made is going to get a lot more attention than any other G4 that just happens to still work. So
well, I also wanted to revive it, right? These computers are so dated. They're PowerPC G4 computers that can't even load YouTube anymore. They're just so outdated. Wow. They are good for nothing. And it's just sad, because I love that design. It's just such a beautiful design, and it's sad to see these computers just wasting away, not having a purpose. And so I wanted to use mine daily and be able to enjoy it. for every little bit that it is. And so happy it worked.
Absolutely. I know. That's awesome. Yeah. And I'm glad you're going to use it too. It's actually operational, and it'll get probably software updates for another 6-7 years.
That's the hope.
Maybe more.
I don't think the monitor will last because, you know, it's definitely old, but I hope the cube lasts. Yeah. I definitely think it will. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a price if someone wanted to buy it off?
Let's just say I put more than $1,400 into this computer, between actual like buying of things, to get this all done. So it would not be cheap. It would not be, and that's the base Mac Mini inside.
No, I think it should be like a collector's item, or like a museum or something. If you wanted to buy it off you for like $30,000, would you say yes?
Yes, I would say yes. I'd make 30 of them.
You're like, I'm so proud of this thing.
$30,000? Yeah, it's not worth that much to me. It's Cybertruck money right there. But
there you go.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of fun. All right. Well,
get hyped, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I think we have Apple events tomorrow. Sleep well.
Probably less than 24 hours before it begins. I'll be doing my reaction stream on Twitch and my hype stream on YouTube. Nick and I hopefully will be able to do a same-day podcast after the event that'll be published later that day. Sadly, Randy's in the process, for those curious. Nick, we should have more people on this show. Why is it just us?
I'd like just talking to you. I'm selfish.
I know. I'm kind of missing. No, I'm kidding. The old retro days of the tech podcast, it was just us.
So HDMI 2.1.
HDMI 2.1. That's our origins. But yeah, Randy's in the process of moving all of his belongings and his wife and his dog across the entire country. So safe to say he's pretty busy.
Yep.
So I don't even know if he'll be able to watch the event, but if he can make time to be on the podcast next week, we'll absolutely have him on. But probably don't expect it. It'll be a surprise if it is to us. So thank you all for watching.
But a welcome one.
A welcome one. And we'll see you in the next episode. Shouldn't be long. Tomorrow. Bye-bye. Good morning.